with us. There would be me and Raquel, my significant other, and, of course, Rodney and his lovely wife, Cassandra. As Dell spoke, the memories washed over Rodney. He remembered the sprawling villa in the Caribbean, the endless flow of vintage champagne, the feeling of invincibility. But he also remembered the nagging anxiety, the sense that they were playing a game with rules they didn't understand. Dell was still talking, oblivious to his brother's internal turmoil, and not forgetting my young son, Damien, the apple of my eye, a true trotter prodigy. You know, we were in this five-star resort. Rodney's mind flashed back to the resort. He recalled the furious hotel manager, Mr. Potter, marching across the marble-tiled dining room. He remembered Cassandra trying to hide behind a massive tropical plant. "Mr. Potter, it's good to see you again." "Bon appetit," Dell had said, completely oblivious to the man's purple face. "Ralph, you've got to have a word with Damien," Cassandra had hissed, sensing the impending disaster. "People are complaining." "Oh, no. What's he done now?" Rodney had sighed, the familiar weight of Trotter-induced shame settling on his shoulders. "He's just relieved himself in the swimming pool," Cassandra had whispered, horrified. Dell had merely laughed, waving a dismissive hand. "Oh, bleep it out, Cassandra. All little boys enjoy a quick splash in the swimming pool, don't they? It's natural." "Yes, Derek," Cassandra had replied, her voice trembling with barely suppressed rage, "but not from the top of the 4-meter diving board." Rodney shuddered at the memory. They had money, yes, but they hadn't bought class. They had just exported Peckham to the tropics. "Yes, we had it all," Dell told the biographer, snapping Rodney back to the present. "We were the kings of the world." Chapter 2: The House of Cards. The illusion of invincibility shattered with the suddenness of a dropped pint glass in a quiet pub. It was the Central American economies, Dell explained to Justin, his voice losing a fraction of its usual bravado. It turned out that negotiations between the countries had collapsed. The whole market went belly up overnight. We were wiped out. Nicked the lot. The memory was still raw. Dell remembered sitting in the opulent hotel suite, the Mediterranean sun beating down outside, while he stared at the financial pages of the international newspaper. The numbers had turned red. Then they had plummeted. Then they had disappeared entirely. We'd even paid for the hotel on a credit card, Dell murmured, almost to himself. A gold card, mind you, but a credit card which, we soon discovered, had been abruptly withdrawn by the bank. That must have been a terrifying predicament, Justin noted, his pen flying across the notepad. Stranded abroad, penniless? Well, yes, Dell admitted, but Derek Trotter is, if nothing else, a very creative businessman. I came up with a solution to our dilemma. Which was? We legged it, Rodney interjected bluntly. We packed our bags in the middle of the night, climbed down a fire escape, and hitched a ride to the airport. It was humiliating. It was a strategic withdrawal. Dell corrected sharply. And anyway, how long did it take for the news to hit the UK? About as long as it took for someone to push a button on the internet. Suddenly, all our so-called business associates wouldn't return our calls. The men who drank our champagne and smoked our cigars suddenly didn't know us. We were cast into a financial wilderness. The return to London had been a grim affair. The sprawling estates they had purchased were repossessed. The luxury cars vanished back to the dealerships. The trotters were, quite literally, back where they started. But fortunately, Dell said, finding his optimistic footing once more, we come from a strong, tight-knit community. When all our old friends from Peckham heard the news, well, they were as gutted as us. They rallied round. Ah, yes, Justin said, flipping a page in his notebook. Speaking of your community, there's a name that crops up every now and then in the research. A Mr. Michael Fisher, landlord of a public house. The Nag's Head in Peckham. What part did he play in the proceedings? A heavy silence fell over the room. Dell shifted in his seat, suddenly finding his cuffs fascinating. Rodney stared intently at the ceiling. Well, Dell began slowly, clearing his throat. Mike invested his life savings in our Central American venture. He believed in our vision. He actually remortgaged the pub to get in on the ground floor. I see, Justin said, his tone neutral. And will Mr. Fisher be giving evidence in any upcoming hearings regarding the collapse? No, Rodney said quietly. He can't. Why not? He's in prison, Dell sighed, the wind completely knocked out of his sails. He's awaiting trial. Justin blinked. Prison. For a bad investment? The fraud squad claims that he tried to recoup his catastrophic losses by embezzling funds from the brewery. Dell explained, his voice thick with genuine sorrow. Never was a man more innocent in his intentions. He was just trying to balance the books. You see, I take it Mr. Fisher will be pleading not guilty. Justin asked. No, Rodney said, shaking his head. He confessed to everything. Broke down in tears in front of the arresting officer. It was a tragedy. The trial of Michael Fisher had been a dark day for the Peckham community. The entire gang had turned up at the courthouse to serve as character witnesses. It was a motley crew that would have made any defense barrister weep. Rodney remembered the waiting area outside the courtroom vividly. Denzel, the long-haul lorry driver, had been pacing back and forth, his face slick with nervous sweat. For God's sake, Denzel, sit down, Albert, their elderly uncle, had grumbled, leaning heavily on his walking stick. You're wearing the marble out. I can't, Albert, can I? Denzel had shot back, his eyes wide with panic. I've never been a character witness before, and you think we have? I'm worried. I think Dole's made a terrible mistake. Well, of course he's made a terrible mistake, Albert had replied pragmatically,